Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here, and today I have a quick little Toonami news update. Now, I was going to give this to you yesterday because it was announced yesterday, but I was busy, so I'm going to take a little break from touching grass to tell you about this little bit of Toonami news. And that is that on July 12th, which is 2 weeks from today, as of me making this on Saturday the 28th, Toonami will be having a marathon. Now, it's kind of a notable marathon because it is Lazarus, as you would expect. The Toonami original is going to get the marathon, but it is of the sub of it. So not the dub that we've been having on the block for the past 11, 12 weeks, but of the sub version of it. Now, some people can read between the tea leaves about this, and I am going to say that one of the complaints some people did have about Lazarus when it first came out was that the voice acting was pretty lackluster. And you look at the names, there's some pretty prominent VAs in Lazarus. It wasn't like they're necessarily like scraping the bottom of the barrel. It just sounded uninspired, which you get sometimes when you have a show like Lazarus, which in my opinion is very, very derivative. And again, and that is something a lot of people are also saying about it. And that might be a video for another day because I have been kind of paying attention to the general perception of Lazarus. And although I'm definitely going to stop well short of saying, "Oh, it's the most hated anime ever," I am saying that it was given a pretty big opportunity which it didn't quite cash in on, which might end up being very frustrating for Toonami in the long term. It might be the reason why they're mixing up with the sub instead of airing the dub for this marathon. Try to get people exposed to that. But long story short, I'm just gonna say very quickly here that this general anime season has been relatively weak. Not weak. Like you could point out some general anime that have been big names done very well. Like for example, something like Fire Force season 3 was this summer or spring season technically. You also have, I mean, something like My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which, by the way, do not expect to ever. The fact that we haven't gotten like My Hero Academia Season 7 left in the block means we're probably never getting something like Vigilantes, or if we do, it'll be like 2, 3 years from now, or whatever, you know. And other anime like that. And then you have Lazarus, which has all this promotion. You got freaking Kojima talking about on Twitter how much he liked this, and of course he's not the be all end all and whatnot, but when anyone's talking about it, people pay a little bit more attention. Like for example, some people claim that Lycra's Recoil gained some of its popularity because of the fact that Kojima tweeted about it. But enough about him. Also the fact that again, he had all this promotion and the fact that said that this really wasn't that big an anime season. Like for example, this summer 2025, which is going to be a week or two from now that season starts, is going to be insane. Look up the anime that's going to be debuting this summer. This might be one of the biggest anime seasons in a long time. For example, you have Dan Dan season 2 coming out. No one would give two shits and a fuck about Lazarus if it was airing when Dan season 1 debuted. Because that anime sucked the oxygen out of the room of how big it was. And you get that. You get like sometimes, some seasons, you get one or two anime that are so massive, so popular, that people are not really going to talk about any other anime unless it's something that's in their specific niche that they're already going to watch. So, and again, and Lazarus, and here's one little solace for Lazarus. I'll give them benefit of the doubt on. It actually was not the biggest failure of this season. This season might have seen the death of Gundam as a franchise. And I'm not going to go too much into detail about it because I know Mobile Suit Gundam has its massive fan base and might piss some people off by saying it. But the fact that GUIX or whatever it's supposed to be called never really caught traction. It really didn't catch traction with Gundam fans. After some people said that when Witch from Mercury aired a year or two ago, it saved Gundam, it saved Gundam. They doubled down on the Witch from Mercury formula and people just didn't care. People didn't watch it. And again, if most of the reaction, like most of what I've saw online of GUIX is Machu in swimsuits, which I guess is a good thing. Because I talked about Fully Coolly Progressive way back when. I'm like, it's interesting that the highest rated episode and the one that people most fondly remember from Progressive, as bad as that was the episode where all the promos had Haruko in a bikini. they knew their fan base. They knew the audience. As bad as Progressive was, people in Toonami promoting it had a generally good grip of who was watching it. You know, and I could go into all about Gundam, about how Gundam is chasing audiences and chasing trends at this point, but I digress. I digress because this is not about Gundam. This is about Lazarus, and specifically, actually, just me talking about a specific marathon airing 2 weeks from now. And I've once again, in Super Orange Cat tradition, I go way, way, way off base. But I digress. To sum up all parts here, Toonami, Lazarus Marathon, a couple weeks from now. It will be the sub, not the dub, airing from 11 p.m. all the way through 5:30 in the morning. If I recall correctly, the series finale of Lazarus will air tonight, as in June 28th, 2025, in the year of our Lord tonight. Again, maybe Lazarus has like the most amazing ending ever. But I've heard some grumblings from some people that are like, yeah, it's it's not as good as I thought it was gonna be. It dropped the ball, it did all this stuff. Which, I mean, Fully Cooley Progressive and Fully Cooley Grunge exists, so I honestly doubt that this will be the worst Toonami original ever. And you also still have Uzumaki, which a lot of people conveniently forgot ever happened. The first episode was amazing. It was everything everyone hoped for, waited for, myself included. 2 through 4, not as much. But that's wild. That's still wild, though. And again, one more time, Lazarus, July 12th, 11 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. sub marathon. I am Super Orange Cat, and fortunately, that is all.